Coming to tonight's session on understanding consumer psychology from the lens of a product manager. Let me give you an introduction to our eminent and distinguished speaker of tonight, Ritesh Jain. Ritesh is a product leader, mentor, and a coach. He has led cross-functional teams in product management, business operations, UX design, customer success, and engineering at startups and large organizations across US and India. At Samsung India, Ritesh leads product for all AI software such as vision, voice, and text-related core applications and features on Galaxy smartphones. A very warm welcome to you, Ritesh. We are thrilled to have you here with us tonight. Handing the session over to you.
Thank you so much, Shama, for a very nice introduction. Psychology is a very, very interesting topic. Understanding the human mind. How does it react in different circumstances? How does it take decisions under pressure? It is a very, very fascinating and interesting topic. But how is it related to product management, you would ask? Well, I say that every product manager can immensely benefit by learning about and focusing on consumer psychology. Well, a disclaimer that I do not have any formal training in psychology, and whatever views I'll share today are purely based on my own experiences and learnings over the few years. I'll start sharing my screen. I was told that a lot of audience today are aspiring product managers or very young product managers. I very clearly remember my journey of transitioning from a hardcore engineer to a product manager. This was year 2009. I was in the Silicon Valley in the US. I had been working as a software engineer for 8 years, and I had just gotten my MBA degree. I was very excited to join as a product manager at some of the companies in Silicon Valley. Unfortunately, 2009 was also the time when we were going through one of the worst recessions of current times. Most of the companies had frozen their hiring. Nobody was hiring for PMs at all. And I was in a fix. I had to prove to myself and to the outside world that I have it in me to build something end to end, to take a concept and launch it all the way to success. So what did I do? I worked really, really hard. I spent all my weekends for months creating a mobile application, a gaming application. In those times, those were early days of app development, mobile app development. Google and Apple had made it very easy for any software developer to build their own apps and launch it on their respective app stores. So I worked really, really hard. This is me pounding at my keyboard. But when I launched my first version, users didn't like it. No matter what I did, they just didn't like it. And this is what I was after the launch of my very first product. Why are people not liking what I've built? I thought it was amazing. So why do products fail? It's a very interesting question. And it's that $1 million, or rather, should we say $1 billion question right now? Well, sorry to disappoint you. I don't have all the answers. Otherwise, I won't have been sitting here doing this webinar. I would probably be in my yacht somewhere in the Pacific Ocean having a great time. However, one thing to note is that if you add up all applications available combined across different app stores, Google, Apple, others, we have more than 3 million apps out there. But you'll be surprised to know that 70% of the users' time on their mobile phones is spent on the top 200 apps only. 200 apps out of 3 million apps. If you look at websites, we have probably over more than 4 billion websites out there. More than 80% of them have never been used. Most products fail. It's okay. Very few products succeed. Does psychology have a role to play here to understand why products fail? Sometime last year, I was playing tennis with my 8-year-old son. We took a small break after we were tired, and I noticed that my son was strangely and curiously looking at my t-shirt. I was wearing a Nike t-shirt which said, "Just do it." So I asked him, "Hey, why are you looking at me like that?" He said very politely, "Papa, do you remember you had gotten me a similar t-shirt 2 years ago?" I said, "Yeah, so?" He says, "Whenever I used to wear that t-shirt, my whole day I used to be extremely miserable and confused." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "I just did not know what am I supposed to do. The t-shirt says just do it, but what should I do?" There was a 30-second silence, and I just started laughing out loud. I just could not stop myself. And he started laughing with me, and we both laughed for a good 2 to 3 minutes. And he was so confused and very happy that he made me laugh. He later told me, "I've never seen you laugh this much ever before." So he asked me, "Why are you laughing?" I tried to explain to him, what does "just do it" mean? I mean, this is one of the most successful campaigns any brand has done. When Nike came up with this, they showcased top class athletes achieving what they have in their lives, and the implicit message is, if they can do it, you can too, right? Just go and do it. That set me thinking that humans perceive information shown to them in many different ways depending on who they are. What do they know so far? And does that have to do anything with the type of decisions they make? To dig deeper, I did one experiment. I asked one of my doctor friends to scan my brain, especially when I am taking some sort of a decision. So when he took the first picture, this is what it looked like. This was my brain. And the decision I wanted to take was very, very simple. I wanted to sign up for a new product or a service, a simple sign up form, and I just needed to fill it out. Sounds cool, right? That's what my brain thought. These are all signals going in my brain at that time. And the expected outcome of all this is that this product or service will get a happy, signed in user like me. Now, wait a minute. This will happen in a utopian world. But are we living in a utopian world? Unfortunately, not. We're talking about our brain, our mind. It has memories, it has thoughts, and those thoughts can come at any time, right? What if this product or this website or this app steals all my data? But last time when I did something similar, I started getting all this spam. Is this even the right product to sign up for? Will I get enough value from it? Well, I don't think the father of my ex-girlfriend is going to approve me signing up for this service. You see how such random thoughts can start emerging in your brain. Thoughts from your childhood, from your first job, from a vacation you took, and suddenly you realize your brain is full of thoughts that are preventing you from signing up for this new service. And remember, there is no limitation of storage space. We are not talking about cloud storage versus hard disk. This is our brain. It has almost infinite storage. We have not even reached 10% of its full capacity. And there are no issues of bandwidth or latency. These thoughts can come like this within seconds. And in case you thought this was it, no, sir. The very last thought that emerged, hey, last time when somebody did something similar, they got grilled on the Coffee with Karan show about why did you ever do this, sign up for this service. So within seconds, my happy looking brain looked like this, a very confused, in doubt brain. And as far as that signed in user goes, well, that product can forget about it. I'm not going to sign up for that anymore. So what happened here? It all comes down to being intuitive and removing ambiguity from anything you're trying to build or showcase to your end consumers. Anticipate all these doubts that will creep in their minds and make sure that the value you are offering is so intuitive that if they were to be weighed on a scale, that intuitiveness far overweighs all the doubts that will creep in their mind. And therefore, it becomes a very easy decision for that person to take at that moment in time. Earlier this year, I would say about 3 months ago, when we were going through that second wave of Corona pandemic, I was trying to help my dad download a medical teleconsultation app on his phone remotely. He was in a different city. I was in a different city. I was on the phone call with him and I was trying to explain to him how to download an app from the Google Play Store. Now, my dad is 70 years old. I would say he's pretty smart. He has achieved a lot in his life, but I won't call him tech savvy. So on the phone, I explained to him how to find Google Play Store. He has a smartphone. I explained to him how to find Google Play Store. He was able to launch it. I was able to explain to him, go to the search bar, type the name of that particular app that we are looking for. He saw the results and I explained to him, okay, click on the topmost result. He was on the app page for that particular app. And then I just said, okay, go ahead and download it. Click on download. After a couple of seconds, he said, hey, nothing is happening. I said, what do you mean nothing is happening? Just, just download it. Just click on download. Again, he said, no, I'm clicking on download and nothing is happening. I was very confused and I was getting a bit frustrated. We have like traversed almost 95% of the distance. I got him to that download page and now he's just not able to download the app. What's going on? Then I asked him, just tell me what you see on your screen. So he told me, okay, I see this app icon, I see the app name, I see a bit of description, I see the ratings, star ratings, and I see downloads 5 million plus. And I'm clicking on that downloads 5 million plus and nothing is happening. And I was like, No, 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 no. You don't have to. That's the number of downloads that this app has. That's not a button. You don't have to click on that place. Then I quickly opened the same app on my phone and I realized that it's not actually called the download button. It's called the install button. To us, download, install, it's all the same thing, right? Potato, patata, whatever you, however you call it, it's the same thing. But I kept on telling him, press on download. And unfortunately, on his phone, that app was not compatible. So he could not see that install button. Instead, there was a message saying this app is not compatible with your smartphone. So what did we learn from this? It's a very interesting phenomenon called the curse of knowledge. Have you ever played dumb charades in your family or with your friends? I'm sure most of you would have played or at least know about it. One person who is enacting a movie and the team who knows about that movie, they are thinking, why is this other team not able to get it? It is so simple. This person is enacting exactly all about that movie. Why is this other team just not getting it? In 2006, a Stanford graduate did a study, very interesting study. She took about 120 volunteers and divided them into two groups, 60 each. The first group was called tappers. All their job was to tap on a desk like this, like this. They were just supposed to tap like this. And the other group was called the listeners. They were supposed to listen to that tapping. Now the tappers were going to tap very famous jingles, and the listeners were supposed to recognize which melody or which jingle the tapper is tapping. Very simple. The tappers were asked before the experiment started, hey, what do you think? How many jingles will the listeners be able to recognize? The tappers thought, well, these are the most common jingles that every person would know. I think the listeners should be able to recognize 50% of them. The experiment was concluded, and the result was that the listeners were able to recognize only 2.5% of the jingles. Now, I will tap something here, try to recognize what I'm doing. I hope you were able to hear this. Maybe in the chat window, you can type in what do you think I was tapping? What one of the very famous jingles I was tapping? I'll just wait for 10 seconds. Okay, the jingle I was tapping was Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Stars. So it went like this. Twinkle, twinkle, little stars, how I wonder what you are. To me, I knew what I'm tapping. It is so obvious. But to an unknown audience who does not know what is going on in my mind, it is just noise. It is just random tapping on a table. This is what we call the curse of knowledge. What we know versus what the audience knows versus what we end up showing them are three different universes. And therefore, what the audience takes away is a very small piece of it. So the lesson here is don't assume what they don't know. We often fall into this trap. We assume that, oh, this is so obvious, people will just get it, right? What's there to even question? In case you do any dog fooding, or you plan to do any dog fooding of your own product or feature, try to do that with absolute unbias. Do not give any instructions and just observe how your audience is reacting to your product or feature. Trust me, you will learn so much from just that one simple experience versus any surveys, analytics you would have done. And you will be able to solve majority of your product problems even before you hit the market. So now that we have understood a little bit about the human psychology, how we think, how we react, how we perceive information, how we make decisions, let's see what is the best way to identify some of the unmet needs of our consumers. You know, it's very easy to find out what people do in their lives. You know, there's tons of data available out there. We always talk about being data driven. You know, get as much data as you want, as you can. Do a lot of analytics on it. Understand your funnel, where people are dropping off, all of that. Or you know, a lot of market research, consumer research, interviews, surveys. There are a lot of ways to understand what people do in their lives, and based on that, you can build some really decent products. But the more important question to ask is why people do what they do. That's where an exceptional product manager can build an exceptional and very successful product. Understand why they do what they do. Why should I build this product? Why will my consumer adopt this product? And don't stop at the first why. Keep asking these why questions where the next why is in response to the answer of the previous why. And while you are doing this, you will find your answers in one of the pillars of this pyramid. This is the hierarchy of needs pyramid. Physiological, which is food, clothing, shelter, safety, love and belonging, self-esteem, self-actualization. This is a very famous hierarchy of needs pyramid. And it talks about improving the overall quality of life. When you're asking those why questions, why should I build a product? Make sure that eventually you land on an answer that fits within this pyramid. Because at the end of the day, please remember that it is never about technology. Technology is an enabler, it is a means to make people happy. It is always about people. Pick any product, any one of your most successful products that you have used, whether it's a software product or a hardware product, application, website. If it has been successful over a longer period of time, it must be making people happy as per that pyramid I showed to you in the previous slide. Now, how do you make people happy? Again, you ask a series of questions. What are they lacking right now in their lives? Are they doing anything about it? Which will give you an idea of, does competition exist, or what are some of the alternatives people are using today, then what can you do to make their lives better? So this is where your product's differentiation will come in. And then how will you do it? This is where you actually end up defining your product. And then finally, how will you sustain it? That's your business model, revenue model. That should be the last question you answer in this series of questions of how to make people happy. I always say that, and I have observed that users are very smart and naive at the same time. You will ask me, what does that mean, Ritesh? Smart and naive at the same time? Well, they are smart because you cannot enforce your product on them. Unless users see real value in what you have built and what you have to offer to them, they are not going to adopt it. Maybe in the short term, you will see a quick win where you acquire a lot of customers, maybe some through some sort of manipulation. We have seen many examples of that in the last 4 or 5 years. But in the long run, users can see through it and they are going to turn away unless there is real value, unless that product is improving their quality of life. And why do I say they are naive? They are naive because they themselves don't know what they're lacking in life. They don't know what to ask for. Therefore, it is very important to ask the right question. Let me show you a video. I don't know if I shared my audio. Let me just quickly see. Sorry, guys, I'm going to just stop sharing and I'm going to reshare with the audio enabled. Okay. This is a very famous speech from John F. Kennedy, an ex-American president.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
This became a landmark speech and a lot of people still refer to it till date. It was in, I believe, 1963. It's been more than 50 years since this speech happened, but uh, uh, there is no other American speech, American president speech like this again. I morphed that speech into for product management. And what I say is, my fellow product managers, ask not, will you like to use this product? Ask what problem bothers you. It is so important to ask the right question to your audience. If you're going to ask them, hey, I'm building this product, will you use it? The answer will be always yes, unless you're asking a lot of money for it. Because they don't know before they have used that product how it's going to help them improve their lives. Instead, you should always ask, what is the problem that is bothering you? And many times, even that question is asked indirectly. I'll give you a few examples. At Samsung, we do a lot of consumer research. That consumer research is done in many, many different ways. We interview people, we shadow them through their day, of course, with their consent. We look at a lot of data, we look at a lot of trends, mega trends, um, uh, and marketing research reports. One of the things we were trying to understand was that when it comes to our camera, camera is a very sacred piece on our Galaxy smartphones. when it comes to our camera, what are some of the things that consumers find difficult? We were looking for those unmet and unspoken needs. Has it ever happened to you that you are at a birthday party and somebody's asked you to take, pictures or videos, and you're trying to fit everybody in one frame, and you're trying to decide, should I take a video or should I take a picture? Uh, should I use wide lens? All of those things are happening, and suddenly the cake is already cut, the candles are blown, and you've missed that moment. With me, it has happened when my daughter was performing on stage, and my wife and I were there in the audience. We somehow managed to get the front row because we did not want to miss a single moment. And my wife ended up taking pictures. I was taking the video, and we were just gazing at our screen, and we were literally missing the joy of watching that performance live on stage. We were just looking at through our screens. So the real insight that emerged from this is that those very important moments get missed while deciding what feature to use. Many times, my wife will take, when she wants to take a selfie, I call her the selfie queen, by the way. She loves taking selfies. And whenever she wants to take a particular selfie, she will take like 5 or 6 different shots from different angles. And then she will pick the best one amongst those. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. So that was the insight that emerged. And what did we do about it? Look at this 30-second video for the answer.
अब इतना कुछ सुनने के बाद मैं चेकआउट कर रही हूँ इसका मॉन्स्टर शॉट, मतलब ये सिंगल टेक फीचर, और सच्ची इट गिव्स यू द मैक्स आउट ऑफ ईच एंड एवरी मोमेंट यार. तो चलो लेट्स डू इट. बस एक टेक से you get multiple videos and images like boomerang, smart crop, filters and so many other outputs, और फिर share भी एकदम instantly.
So this feature is called single take or monster shot. We launched this feature in India last year under the name of monster shot. All you do is you set up your camera and you hit the shutter button, and then your camera using AI will capture all important moments in the next 15 seconds. It will take videos, it will take pictures, it will apply filters, it will do cropping. The videos will be in hyperlapse, boomerang, reverse videos, all possible ways to make your moments look awesome. And when we launched this feature, the type of reviews we got from top bloggers, this is one of the most thoughtful camera features ever. Tons of fun, revolutionary, and that made our day. This is what I meant about understanding those unspoken, unmet needs of your consumers without asking them, hey, should we build this feature for you? Will you use it? At that time, I don't know what answers we would have gotten, but just understanding that they are missing those important moments, we came up with this idea. I'll give you one more example. Privacy is very important to Samsung. Anything we do, whether it's our core applications, whether it's the third-party applications that are installed on our phones, we are always looking to improve our transparency. We handle a lot of consumer data, so we are extremely cautious about privacy. One insight we learned about Indian consumers, especially Indian millennials, is that privacy of space is actually more important to them than privacy of data. What does privacy of space mean? In India, it is very common for people to share their phones. Your sibling will just grab your phone and start playing games on it, or your roommate will take your phone and click some pictures, or browse or do shopping. Your parents may ask your phone for making phone calls, or there is no sense of concept of privacy. Anybody can invade your privacy at any time when it comes to your smartphone. And Indian millennials are smart. They find jugaad, the workarounds. They will either uninstall those apps that they don't want anyone else to see, or they will delete some pictures that they want no one else to see. These are, yes, these workarounds work, but requires a lot of effort. So we realize that yes, this is an unspoken and an unmet need for Indian millennials. So what did we do?
The ever-loving Bay, who wants to gaze into your phone as much as he wants to gaze into your eyes. Stay awesome and live the Allsea life with Quick Switch on Galaxy A51 and A71.
So this is a product we launched last year. It's called the Allsea Life, and it allows a user to very quickly switch between their public life and their private life. Let's say they have two sets of WhatsApp on their phone. Uh, they want to maintain two sets of Snapchat accounts or Instagram accounts, or they want to maintain two sets of galleries on on their phone. One is the main gallery, the public gallery that anybody can see, and one is a private gallery that is contained inside a secure folder on their phone. Secure folder is a great feature secured by our Knox security on most of Galaxy smartphones. And with a simple double click of the power button, they can switch between these two universes that Indian millennials live in. Even camera, if they are taking pictures, they can, if they want to take some private pictures, just a double click and they will switch to the private version of the camera, and whatever pictures they take there, they will automatically get stored in the private version of their gallery. Very simple. Yes, of course, when you are moving from a public space to a private space, uh, some level of authentication will be required, which will be different from their regular phone authentication, fingerprint or a passcode or a PIN. But when they are coming out from private to public, no authentication is needed. Very, very simple feature, very easy to use. And when we launched this, what type of reviews did we get? Best privacy feature. Why can't all phones have this? Phenomenal, zabardast, blessing from God. These are all reviews or feedback we got from millennials and the Gen Z population on different blog posts. I'll take just a moment here. I showed just a couple of examples here about what all we have been building at Samsung. Last month, Samsung R&D Institute Bangalore won the Engineering R&D Organization of the Year award at the NASSCOM Engineering and Innovation Excellence Awards. It was an extremely proud moment for our organization. We also won the Social Impact Solution of the Year award for our eye health diagnostic suite. What we did was we repurposed our old phones, the 4-year-old phones like S8 or S9 series of phones, and repurposed them to make them an eye diagnostic tool to detect early uh, problems with eyes like glaucoma and other cataract and other things. this is not it. We are really transforming lives at Samsung, whether it's in AI or 5G or IoT or networking or communications or modem or services or advertising or monetization. You name it, we are doing it. You talk about the latest gadgets, the foldable devices, you talk about wearables, you talk about these Galaxy Buds I'm wearing right now. Every single piece of new technology is being built at Samsung R&D Institute Bangalore, and we are always looking for rock stars to join our teams. So if you are a rock star, or if you know anybody, not just in product management, but in engineering domains, leadership levels, or any level, please reach out to us. I will share my email ID right now, ritesh.jan@samsung.com. Please reach out to me. I cannot promise that I will get back to everybody, but I'll make sure that if you reach out, I will take your message to the right people. I'll share one more story from about 8 years ago. It was year 2013, and I was working at a startup. It was a mobile payments startup. Things were okay. I was in the Silicon Valley at that time in the US, but our business was stagnating. There was a moment when we realized that we were not able to raise any more funds, and we may not have enough funds to pay salaries beyond 3 months. It was a crunch time for us. We started introspecting. What are our strengths? What are some of the mega trends going on around us? And then we started connecting the dots. At that time, mobile fraud was rampant in the United States. There were a lot of credit card frauds happening, identity theft was happening, and businesses, especially banks, because in US, most of the liability is taken by banks and not the end user. Banks were losing millions and billions of dollars in fraud. Our mobile payments business was working, in conjunction with the mobile operators in the US, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, because we were riding their payment rail to make a payment. What we realized was that the authentication that the mobile operators do, to authenticate that this is Ritesh Jain, this is his phone, this is his SIM card, and therefore I need to route this incoming call to this handset. This same channel was the authentication route as well as the payment route. We quickly pivoted at that time, and we connected the dots that we are sitting on some really valuable data, a gold mine of data about consumer authentication. Can we build a mobile fraud mitigation product from it and go and sell it to banks? So this was a B2B offering, by the way. So we were able to do that, and eventually it helped get our company acquired. So it is very important to know when things are not working, when consumers are not liking what you have built, and when is the right time to pivot. This is my last story of the day. This is Bill Gates, and I have taken a 1-minute excerpt from a very famous TED talk that he did on malaria. So watch this clip and then we'll talk about it.
For example, there's more money put into baldness drugs than are put into malaria. Now, baldness it's a terrible thing. And rich men are afflicted. And so that's why that priority has been set. But malaria, even the million deaths a year caused by malaria greatly understate its impact. Over 200 million people at any one time are suffering from it. Means that you can't get the economies in these areas going because it holds things back so much. Now, malaria is, of course, transmitted by mosquitoes. I brought some here just so you could experience this. We'll let those roam around the auditorium a little bit. There. There's no reason only poor people should have the experience. Those mosquitoes are not infected, but.
So this is a very, very famous speech from Bill Gates many, many years ago. And what people still remember from this TED Talk is this moment when Bill Gates released real mosquitoes in the auditorium. This was almost a 40-minute talk. He shared a lot of data. He urged a lot of people to take malaria seriously, help the poor countries overcome it. But the one thing that people still remember till date is Bill Gates releasing those mosquitoes in that auditorium that day. We call it the star moment, something they will always remember. So this is my last lesson for the day. No matter what you do, even a presentation like I am doing right now, an investor pitch, a regular evangelization pitch within your company, a product or a feature that you have built, and the first time a user experiences it, make sure that you are weaving in a star moment with their first experience, something they'll always remember about it, and therefore they will come back to your product or feature. So in summary, these are the 6 things we talked about today. Just a quick recap. Don't make me think. Don't assume what they don't know. Start with that why, very, very important. And always ask the right questions to your audience. Know when to pivot and weave in that star moment. Just ending with this, as far as that first product went, after version 1.0, this is how I was. I learned, I introspected, I looked at a lot of data, I spoke to a lot of my users, I understood what they liked, what they didn't like, and then I started questioning why they liked or didn't like what I had built. And with my version 2.0, this is how I looked like. Yes, I've done it. I was able to get 250,000 downloads of my application without spending a single penny on marketing, advertising, brand building. I was the coder, I was the designer, I was the QA, everything was me, and I was able to get 250,000 downloads. I felt really accomplished after that. With that, I will end my presentation. Thank you so much, and I'm very happy to take questions. Shama,
Thank you,
over to you.
Ritesh, for delivering a brilliant session. Really great and thought-provoking insights. And as you can see, we already have questions lined up for you. So let's begin with the Q&A. The first question is from Aniket. You can also see in the Q&A window at the bottom of the panel. Yeah. Meanwhile, I can read it. Many times customers share many needs, requirement, but as an organization, you have certain limitations and constraints to integrate in product. How can we make the right decision?
That's an excellent question, Aniket. And it is usually the first question that I usually ask in my PM interviews, as a product manager, how would you prioritize between 10 things you have been asked to do, and you have only limited time and resources, you have deadlines to meet? How will you prioritize the top 2 or 3 that you want to take to market? Whenever I build my product roadmap, Aniket, I make sure that my roadmap has 3 different, call it verticals or domains. One is always about customer acquisition. Second one is about customer engagement and retention. And third is about overall growth, whether it's in terms of monetization or any other business goal that you may have. As long as you are staying true to this and you are making sure that you are prioritizing by looking at several factors like consumer delight, how much delight, if I build this feature versus that, how much delight will I be able to give my consumers, and where does it fit in? Is it helping me with new customer acquisition? Is it helping me with retention? Or is it helping me with overall growth? Is it aligning with my business goals? How difficult is it to implement? Does it fit within my timelines? These are some of the parameters we look at, and then we assign weightage to each of those parameters. And in the end, we compute a final score against each of those needs and requirements, and then just prioritize. I hope I was able to answer your question, Aniket.
Yes, Aniket, let us know your thoughts in the chat window, and I hope Ritesh answered your question. Now, moving on to the next one. This is by Nikhil. We have typical business research models for understanding customer insights. Then what is the use of understanding customer psychology when we can understand the insights of the customer just by research models?
Again, Nikhil, excellent question. Uh, what I have experienced is that these research models will tell you a lot about your customer, their insights, um, their needs, but most of the times they're answering that what question. What customers do, what are they lacking, what are their needs. It is not answering the why question. And I strongly believe in starting with the why. Why do customers behave a certain way? Why will they use your product? Why should you build this product? Most of the times these insights are spot on. Even a lot of data analytics are spot on. We are extremely data driven at Samsung, and we base most of our decisions based on very sound data. But consumer psychology is taking it to the next level. If you want to build for the long term and you want your product to sustain itself over time, in addition to, I'm not saying replace your business research models, but in addition to those models, try to understand the psychology. Once I launch this product, how my consumer is going to react to it. What are some of the doubts that will creep in their mind? I'll give you an example. After this webinar, in case you use Amazon Shopping, launch the Amazon Shopping app, go to settings and go to their permissions manager, and just look at how they have designed that page. Permissions is a very touchy topic. A lot of applications will ask for storage permissions or camera permissions, location, contacts. And many times as users, we wonder, what will they do with all this data? Should I even give this permission or not? Right? Just look at how Amazon has designed that page. They anticipated in advance that if I'm asking for a certain permission, what type of doubts will creep in my user's mind? And they have proactively answered those doubts right there. And then they're asking, hey, now you can give us this permission. And they have made it so simple and transparent that you can revoke permissions or you can give permissions all from one page. Shama, let's go to the next question.
Yes, sure. So this question is from Roop. Pivoting is important. How do we identify when to pivot rather than continue to just tweak the product to meet requirements? And how do we convince leadership on this view when a clear development path is already defined?
Roop, that's a very, very tricky question. I have faced this myself many, many times. There is a term called product spiral. As product managers, many times we fall into this trap of product spiral where we start thinking, okay, my product is not working. This is what I expected it to do. Looks like it is not doing. Let me add this feature to it and hopefully it will start working. It will become successful. So we add a new feature, we launch it. After 3 months, we will probably see some initial success, and then again we'll be back to square one where we will again be thinking, okay, it's again stagnating. What's going on? Oh, I think it is missing this feature. Let me add this feature to it. So we keep going into this spiral, endless spiral. We need to be very conscious of the fact that my product as it is today, what is that unmet need that is solving for my end users? Who are my end users, first of all? And what is that unmet need it is solving for them? Is it creating a difference in their lives? Is it enriching their lives? Remember that pyramid we talked about? And then if your answer lies in that pyramid, you're probably on the right track. But if you realize that you have deviated away from it and there is no way to come back to it, that's the best time to pivot. And pivoting is also not easy. You need to have really good strengths that are aligning with some other unmet need that you have identified for your consumers. That is when you decide to pivot.
Great,
Roop, I hope
thank
I
you.
answered your question.
Yeah. Right, guys, please go ahead and put in your thoughts in the comment section and let us know. And if you have anything more you want to ask Ritesh, please go ahead and ask in the Q&A window. This next question is from Aniruddha. Is it advisable to change core product model when customers' why changes? Basically, he means the need if it changes.
Yeah, this is a very interesting question, Anirudh. Let me read it again. Is it advisable to change core product model when customers' why changes? Very, very interesting, Anirudh. See, every business exists because they have a vision, right? They want to achieve something. They want to be at some place over a period of time. Samsung's motto is do what you can't. We want to excel. We want to be the world's best or the world's first in latest innovation in extreme technology areas like AI, 5G, IoT, and others. Similarly, every product model or business has a vision. If your customers' why changes and that why or that need or that unspoken need is still aligning with your vision where you want your business to go, then I don't see why you should, you should not change your core product model, align with the changing why of your customer. But if you realize that it's the same customer, but their why has changed, which means that their need has completely changed, that your strengths cannot play to, you cannot, you don't have it in you to, you know, satisfy that customer's need, then it would be the right time to pivot, like I tried to answer in the previous question. I hope I was able to do justice to this, but this is a very interesting question. You put me in a spot here, Anirudh. Maybe I should think a little more on this, and we can have a separate conversation on this.
Sure, Anita, please make the best of this chance. Connect with Ritesh offline and you can discuss further on this. In view of the time constraints, we'll take this one last question, Ritesh. I'll not
Sure.
hold you for longer. This is from Chandrakant. How the technical product managers engage and get the perspective of psychology, as generally companies have a separate department to channel these inputs to the product development.
Yeah. Great question, Chandrakant. If you work at a very large organization, yes, you have that luxury of, you know, different people, different teams, having different roles and responsibilities. If you happen to work at a startup, then as a product manager, you are wearing all different types of hats. I have been on in both boats before Samsung, which is the largest company I've ever worked at. Before Samsung, I used to work at a startup, which was only 30 people company, and I used to wear all different types of hats. Even at a large organization, I would say that whether you are a technical product manager or you are a, you know, consumer facing product manager, or you know, there are so many different, you ask any company, they have their own definition of what a product manager is. To me, a product manager is somebody who is always biased towards their end user, technology, business. We say, you know, product manager is a, you know, at the intersection of all these, but technology, business comes secondary. The user obsession, their needs come first. So no matter what type of product manager you are, it is very, very important to understand who your end user is and what is their psychology. You got to get under the skin of your end user, start thinking like them, you know, get in their shoes, even if some other department is providing those inputs to you. You got to fully understand them yourselves, and you need to be convinced about those insights or those inputs that are coming from the other department. You need to have that aptitude to yourself understand those unmet needs, whether you figured those out yourself or some other department provided those inputs to you.
This was great, Ritesh. The Q&A went very well. And audience, in view of the time constraints, we'll have to end the Q&A here. Thanks for the participation and enthusiasm. And if you have any further questions, please scan the QR code on the screen to get an exclusive 30-minute session with industry practitioners like Ritesh and get your doubts cleared on transitioning to a product manager. So now for the final part and the most interesting part of the session, Ritesh, I request you to pick the best question. And as promised, I will reward the winner with a free digital course offered by the Institute of Product Leadership. So you can check out the questions in the answer section,
Okay.
the ones we have taken, and yeah, you can let me know which is the best question.
I would have to say the best question came from Anirudh, where I was stumped and I had to do a lot of thinking. I still don't know if I did full justice to it, but Anirudh, congratulations. That was a really insightful question, really made me think hard. And Shama, I would award Anirudh with your session.
Thank you, Ritesh. Thank you for picking the winner. And Aniruddha, congratulations on winning the free digital course. And we'll get in touch with you shortly with the reward. We are grateful for the time and effort you took to share your thoughts and amazing insights drawn from years of research and experience in the industry, Ritesh. And as a thank you, please accept the certificate of appreciation from the institute, a small gesture. So if you scan the QR code on the certificate, it will take you to a recording of this session and also to the Hall of Fame page that we have created for you. Please share it with your network, and we'll share the recording on our YouTube channel as well. It was delightful to have you here. It was a great session. Thank you once again, Ritesh.
Thank you so much, Shama and Institute of Product Leadership. It was my pleasure. I really enjoyed this session, and I look forward to doing more such sessions in the future. Thank you again.
Thank you, Ritesh. And audience, thank you for joining in. It was great interacting with you all. Do not forget to register for the webinar on 14th. And with that note, I end tonight's session. Happy learning and stay skilled. Have a great night. Good night, Ritesh. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.